Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, got to fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Man, I hope that you guys can't see us during the theme song. I could definitely see Reg, and I hope Reg could see me because, man, that song gets me every time. And hey, welcome everyone to another edition of Grapsody. This is episode 4, and this is Saturday, October 23rd, and we're right here, youtube.com/Fightful, and pretty much every other means that Fightful has video streaming capabilities, because we're on the Twitter, we're on Facebook, anywhere you could see us. You're seeing us, and I'm Will Washington, and I'm not alone here because Mr. Philip Lindsey's right here.
Morning. I'm here. Reg is there. Will is there. We're all here.
Yes, I am here. I'm down here. It's Righteous Reg, Double R. Man, that theme song is just really gets the mood started out here on these Saturday mornings.
It does. It gets me going. Yeah, and I want everybody to make sure that if you're watching us live, please be sure to get us those super chats. We'll be reading those here on the show all throughout. And then also be sure to give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to hit subscribe over at youtube.com/Fightful, and turn those alerts on as well, because we go live. You'll get the alert. It pops up right on your phone. Mine just popped up. Said Grapsody's live, except I'm on the show, so I ain't opening that notification. But I got the notification, so I know that we are doing this live. And yeah, join us. Be a part of our Saturday. See, for me, it's a Saturday morning. I'm here in Denver wearing my Broncos shirt, even though I shouldn't be, because they're a bunch of bums who have lost 4 games in a row.
Where's your Nuggets shirt at, bro? You need to get a Nuggets shirt on,
I just went to the Nuggets game last night, so I was wearing Nuggets yesterday, and I had fun. They beat the San Antonio Spurs, which was expected, but even still. They beat the Suns game 1, and then game 2, the Nuggets 2-0. So, if the season ended today, perfect season.
If it works that, they'd be killing it. Good for them.
Hey, when your team is undefeated, man, can't go wrong, man. Those Chicago Bulls are undefeated. Those Lakers are in the mud. Love to see it.
Lakers are beefing. Lakers are fighting on the bench. They don't care about nothing.
Yeah. No, it was fun last night, too, because, I always try to go to the home opener because it's usually around my birthday weekend, because my birthday's on Tuesday. And so, we always go. And we didn't get to go last year because there wasn't, the season didn't start till December. And so it was nice to just be back in the arena, and it was cool. It was fun. Jokic is an unfair advantage in that he just makes stuff look so easy. Because, literally, you take him... I will say our bench needs work, because, our starters, phenomenal, right? But then, you put the bench in, and that's pretty much where any lead we have starts to shrink up until you put Jokic back in, and then all of a sudden he's just towering over folks. Just let me just... Because it's he's not graceful at all. Least graceful basketball player possibly on the planet, but yet his stuff goes in, so who cares? There's no style, no finesse to it. He's just big, lanky white dude.
Get big them Serbian buckets, man, at any cost.
Who just gets buckets. And so who could complain about that? But like I said, there's no style to it at all, but the substance is there, so whatever. I will absolutely take Jokic getting me buckets all day long, and those MVP chants. And even though I feel like every time I say this, I'm going to jinx it, but it hasn't happened yet, I've been going to Nuggets games for the last 20 years. Went to my first one in 2001, and I think it was in the 8th grade at the time. I've never seen them lose. Every time I go, They always win every time. And I'm like, don't say that out loud during the game. And I never say it until the game's over. And I'm like, there's another one. And, you know, my kids, like, there's always a big celebration outside, and the Nuggets drum line, like, they play outside, and like they let everybody like come dance with them and stuff. And the cool thing is, my son asked me yesterday, he's like, does this happen after every game? And I said, you know what? Maybe it happens after the losses, but we don't know.
Right. I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, because like there's always like the little after party in the parking lot. Everybody's having fun. And Billy was like, yeah, they do this every time we come. And I'm like, they do. But I don't know if they do this at losses. I ain't never seen one. So the key is I had to make it to more playoff games.
Yeah, that's what's up. I was also thinking maybe you shouldn't, because what if it's like some reverse thing? Like, it's only hot during the regular season, and when you get to the playoffs, it's not so hot. Like, you got a dilemma now.
I know. I've only been to 2 playoff games, and they won both, obviously. But
I see. Well, you need to keep going, man. You better get all season tickets worth of playoff tickets.
Yep. And hey, shout out to Rob for the super chat. Grapsody.
That's us. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Hey, shout out for Rob for buying that shirt.
Yeah. Shout out, Rob. Thank you for purchasing the shirt. And again, you can purchase the shirt over at Fightful Shop. And yeah, buy one of our 2 shirts. We've got the Grapsody logo, but we also got the Yo Fightful Graps.
Yeah.
Though that one's us as well. Actually, I say us, but that one's more Phil.
Yeah, Phil did that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's us. You said it's us.
And Jester Designs. Let's hope Hit Row can out charisma Vince if we get some interaction.
Yeah, okay.
We'll be talking about that. As a matter of fact,
we'll
it's
see.
kind of our first topic, right?
We'll see.
I like to get a lot of the non-wrestling stuff out in the beginning and in the end, and other stuff before that, because I talked about my week. What have you guys been up to?
Whole bunch of kind of nothing and working. So yeah.
I've watched an insane amount of wrestling. Yesterday, I watched like 5 wrestling shows for some dumb reason. I ended up watching the Bloodsport show last night.
Okay.
That's pretty good. I liked it. Masha Slamovich and what's her name? Roderick Strong's woman. I feel very upset for disrespecting her.
Marina Shafir.
Marina
Come on,
Shafir.
man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come
Marina.
on, podcaster.
I know. Killer match last night. Insane match. You guys should check it out. Main event was Chris Dickinson and Suzuki. Suzuki's just been on a tear, just beating everybody up. He beat up Chris Dickinson pretty bad. So
Suzuki out here living his best life.
he is. He's having so much fun. He just going to shows, beating fools up. Everybody's loving it, selling merch, and then he just goes home.
You know, because he was supposed to be out here WrestleMania weekend in 2020, and of course we didn't get that. And I had tickets to.
Oh man, that was the Orange Cassidy match.
Yeah,
right?
the Orange Cassidy match.
Right.
I had tickets to Spring Break, and I had tickets to everything. I was gonna go to For the Culture. I had like that. My plan was like I had my tickets lined up for that weekend to like go see everything, and this was gonna be like my indie weekend. I was like, I'm gonna see everything. I got WrestleCon meets with like everybody. Like I'm gonna do it all, and then nothing. So
Unfortunate. I did that this year, and it was insane.
yeah, and we have people on Twitter switched so fast on Charlotte once SRS dropped his article.
Charlotte's killing it. As a matter of fact, she's my favorite wrestler right now.
I did see,
and her man.
I did see that a lot of people tried to come for the guy SRS, earlier this week when, that
SRS.
clickbait tweet came out. SRS. Hear them shout
SRS. Dude, we have to make it. We absolutely have to make the song.
Yeah.
I am all over it.
Yeah, people were coming for the guy, and then the stuff came out today, and people kind of flip sides, man.
Right,
Yeah.
It happens quickly, man. He puts out an article, people get pissed, and he puts out another article, and people are like, "Man, Sean's dropping this knowledge on him." It's like,
Yeah.
guy can't catch a break.
Yeah, and I am La Lucha said, had to show love to my new favorite group to talk wrestling. With Hyped SRS brought you on. Thoughts on the new Queen show? Eve is still a baddie. Oh, you mean
I haven't
Queen.
seen
Yeah.
it, but I definitely want to see
I haven't seen any
it.
of it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to. I want to watch it. Like I'm like really interested. There's like a paradoxical issue that I have with a lot of it where it's like there's all these artists that they have featured in the show that would have worked with like everybody in this show, and I'm like, so logically this Eve, like obviously Eve does not exist in this universe, but also like, so I don't know.
I get it.
Yeah, so because like I grew up in that time period, right? So like but I have a feeling it'll be something worth watching. So
Should be pretty good.
Yeah.
So does sitcom Eve exist in that timeline?
Yeah, I
just
know.
saw you on UPN, Eve.
Well, because I saw like T-Boz was there like as T-Boz, but I'm like, so would T-Boz not know Brandy? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
That
but
doesn't make any sense. All these people would know each other.
Yeah, so I don't know. Either
Looks
way,
good
I will
though.
watch it.
We're definitely all gonna check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I don't know. I don't like to watch shows without a full season being completed because everything runs the risk of being canceled, especially with the amount of shows that are out right now. And the thing I hate the most is getting into a show that got canceled. So I at least have to like let a season complete. I never watch anything while it's on. I always binge it as soon as it starts. But hey, we're talking
spoiled streaming.
I know,
son of a gun.
I know this is like not a thing before, right?
Right.
Like that's not a concept my parents know.
The old VHS Reggie right now is like, what is this guy talking about? Waiting and time and what? You better watch that show, man. You're never gonna see it again.
Yep. I know. That's why I have old tapes of. Do you remember Damon Wayans had a sitcom? It was just Damon. Like everybody remembers My Wife and Kids, but not a whole lot of people watched Damon. It was just him and David Allen Greer, and like. I recorded that show and watched it while it was on, and maybe I don't think it ran more than like 5 episodes, but I saw it anyway.
Why did you record that of all shows?
because I was a Living Color fan, and like so I do like Damon Wayans was like that dude to me, and I wanted to see whatever it was.
Anything he was doing was good.
Yeah, I love Blank Man. I've seen that 1,000 times, and I probably shouldn't have seen Mo Money as a kid, but I did.
Same. Stacey Dash, though. Woo-wee.
Yeah, wouldn't say that now. But
yeah, not now. But then, she was the one.
Then, yeah, before she was just clueless, and now she's clueless. All right, so we got the title exchange gone wrong.
Woo-wee.
Or right? Who knows? It depends on who you ask. But
we're gonna see.
Last night, we know that Becky and Charlotte were scheduled to do their title exchange in the main event segment of Friday Night Smackdown. You guys know that show. It's a show that we watch on Fridays, and everybody says is great, and sometimes it is, and then other times is last night. But story broke last night. Well, the funny thing was, so I want to talk about how the story broke. Because you have to pay attention, people. So the way the story initially came out was we're going to play chain of events. First, just a tweet drops from Andrade that says, F you, WWE.
Andrade finished that main event out and came out saying,
man, for real. Let the chopper bang. And 1, 2, 3, bam, bam, bam. Fuck WWE.
Yeah, so everybody was like, "Why is he just talking shit about WWE? Why does he care about his former employer? Why can't he just like let his stuff go? What happened at AEW?" And I was like, y'all know that match was taped like a week ago, so like, it had nothing to do with that match. It had something to do with like probably wouldn't even paid attention to the fact that match was even aired because like it happened in his life and he's been done for a while. Sorry, we're 15 minutes into the show because that was my alarm to start the show, and I accidentally snoozed it for 15 minutes. But anyway, so but I saw people like quote tweeting it, and they're just like, "Oh, WWE living rent free." In Andrade's head, the accident built the SS match much better than
always. That's classic WWE. They never do it themselves. They always just fall in it. Like Becky wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for a big accident. She might, but you know what I mean. Nia Jax punched her in the mouth. And the rest is history.
Yep, that cemented everything for her. But
Accidents.
As far as this chain of events, so Andrade put his tweet out, and this isn't like one of those like I told you so kind of things, but my gut told me it had something to do with Charlotte. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it's like Andrade is not the type to just like. As a matter of fact, he thanked WWE upon leaving.
Right.
Like he doesn't seem like the type to just like talk shit for no reason. And so when that happened, my gut went, wonder what's going on with Charlotte. And then sure enough, within minutes, WrestleVotes then quote tweets it with and you gotta love WrestleVotes because they're kind of the kings of vague posting.
Oh my god! Oh, like, it's so vague.
Like when you get the eye emojis, the shifty eye emoji that like you absolutely know that something's happened, and almost within minutes the story's gonna drop. But WrestleVotes tweeted. They quote tweeted it and said, "This is only the beginning of the story that unfolded tonight." And so, again, I saw people reply to it like, wonder what's going on at AEW. And it's like, they didn't tape anything at AEW.
Yeah,
it was taped a week ago.
AEW has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, it was like, they taped a week ago. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the amount of people who don't know that Rampage isn't live.
Right. Which is great. I wish I was the same. The funny thing about this whole thing is there was a story, I think, yesterday about Sean SRS again tweeted that Charlotte was in Saudi Arabia, and then Andrade was like, no, we're actually in Mexico. So it kind of added another layer. Like they were just together. So I was like, oh, he's mad that they made her come into work. Like that's when he's like FWWE, he's like, yo, we was on vacation. We was on the beach.
Yeah.
We was having a great time. Now she got to go and be on this awful show.
Well, I won't say awful show, but because we'll talk about that. That's our number 2 story. Spoilers. Drew, by the way, said you could see how comfortable that was with hindsight. Sonya didn't want to be there, and Cole for a split second had his head down. Hey, maybe WWE, maybe don't. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with that. But so PW Insider came out with the details. I guess late last night, early morning, depending on where you are in the world. And Fightful Select added more details to the story today, in that the story basically is that the segment didn't exactly go as planned. That Charlotte had reportedly been kind of voicing concerns about it all day backstage, but reportedly wasn't heard. The segment went as planned. Or I suppose the segment started as planned,
right.
Went as it was supposed to go. The big thing in the story is that the way the belts were exchanged, as we saw. Now, the way it played out on TV was that Sonya reaches for Charlotte's belt, Charlotte drops the belt, then Charlotte picks it up, hands it to Sonya, and Becky throws her belt at Charlotte. And according to Fightful Select, which FightfulSelect.com, sign up because it's a really great deal for what you get as far as wrestling news is concerned. And I'm not just saying that as somebody who now hosts a show on Fightful, YouTube.com/Fightful. But I also say that as somebody who was a Fightful Select subscriber before I started Grapsody. So I actually do endorse Fightful Select as a great deal.
It's been longer than 4 weeks, you guys. All right.
Yes. But basically, that the original script called for Becky to grab the belt away from Charlotte and brag about being Becky 2 belts, and then Sonya Deville was going to demand that the belt be handed over to Charlotte, but that Charlotte didn't agree with that, and that they got in an argument when they got backstage. There was a lot of shouting, that Charlotte had said that dropping the belt was accidental. Now that detail's come out, I almost want to rewatch the segment because I haven't seen it since I saw that detail.
Right.
So I'm curious about that.
But it sounded like Cat off the top.
And then Charlotte was asked to leave the venue. So there's a lot to dissect here.
Look, Charlotte is Teflon Don. She knows she can do whatever in the world? Because what are they going to do? Fire her? Yeah, right. If they do, they're going to bring her back. She's forever. She can do whatever she wants. They're never going to not love Charlotte. And she knows that in the back of her mind. So she's like, look, I can do anything I want out here on live TV. It doesn't matter. What are they going to do? They're not going to fire her. And that's what it showed right here. It showed that, like, she kind of used her veteran status to make a statement, I think, more than just, like, you know, trying to be like, trying to beef. I think she was like making a statement like, nah, we don't have to like go with this. Like, we need to think about other things than this terrible booking. So like, I'm not going to be with it. Here we go. This is how I'm going to handle it.
Yeah, because there's a lot to take away from this. Because I have problems, of course, with the big thing here, which is that the title swap in itself like sucks. And you know, I hate when being an optimist like makes me look like an idiot. Because like Phil, you had posted yesterday about the title swap. Don't do this, and I'm like, nah, maybe they'll do something different because it's the main event segment, and like, you know, maybe an angle will come out of this, or you do something going into Survivor Series, something else, right? Nope. Nah.
Nope. No, imagine this angle without that little fight. It would have been just nothing. They would have switched the belts, and then Sasha Banks would have came. Like, what? This is awful. There's no heat here at all.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like a dumb segment, but now it looks hilarious knowing everything that we know about it. Yeah. I watched it this morning. Someone put the My Way or the Highway over it. It was hilarious. Yeah, I was sitting laughing at it, thinking sisters are doing it for themselves.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlotte's been letting y'all know for a while that she's not feeling it. I mean, that was pretty much the catalyst behind the Nia match as well, is Charlotte's not feeling it. And yeah, you could see during this segment, her body language, like her facial expressions, like it was just like, man, you're not covering it well. You're not covering it well.
Yep.
I also love Sonya's face, like, guys, what are we doing? Like,
yeah.
Go. Like, it's going bad. It's going bad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then Sasha just runs out like, "Hey guys, I'm here." Like,
hey, don't you do that? And we're like, wait, don't you do what?
it was a disaster, man. But yeah, let this be a lesson. Don't do title exchanges.
I mean,
don't do it.
Like, I've seen a couple of ideas as far as that's concerned, because like the main one should be, yeah, if you hold a belt that says Raw or SmackDown, you're ineligible to be drafted. Like that.
Easy as that.
Yeah,
why are you drafting these people if you're gonna do that if you're gonna do this? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, and they've been like inconsistent about that in the past, right? Because like I remember in 2007, right? Like Bobby Lashley was drafted as ECW champion, and they were like, "Well, you're ECW champion, so you're officially stripped of the title." But then like the very next year, Kane, ECW champion, drafted to Raw, and they were like, "Eh."
It's just not smart. I mean, especially when you had so many title matches. You had the chance to move that title this week. You could have just made Bianca champion. I don't know why you didn't do that. I don't know, man. I don't get what they're doing. I don't know. It almost feels like either rename the titles or change the draft format at this point.
Yeah, right. Don't do title exchanges, because now Charlotte's a 12-time champion.
Didn't they say they're not going to count it as a new title reign?
How do you not, though? Like, because officially on the record now, the record books shows Charlotte new champion. Mm-hmm. There's no way. There's no way. Like, it would have to be like with an asterisk, and like even still, you've absolutely just like screwed up your history for no reason. Yeah, I have seen the rumor, of course, that Charlotte wanted to lose clean to Bianca. That would have been cool because that match was great, but man, that ending.
Charlotte loses. Oh my gosh, Charlotte's lost in 24 hours. Charlotte's lost the same night. Her belt. Charlotte has lost this belt every single time she's defended it. Why now they want to let her go over? And at the dumbest time to let her go over. Worst time to let her win this championship again, and they just let it happen.
That's why she really got mad. She was like, "No, you're not going to make me look bad again. They're going to blame me for this on the internet. I'm not taking it. Not taking it anymore.
I know exactly what they're going to say about me, so don't do this."
And you know, like, because there's a few things like that I now have a problem with. Talking about the title exchange, and I mentioned this because I was on Denise Salcedo's YouTube channel when we previewed Crown Jewel, and I mentioned this point before, but thinking about the idea that Charlotte is, or not Charlotte, that Charlotte's now the SmackDown Women's Champion. Sure, that's the point I'll go with, and that you now exchange the titles. So now officially on the record, and this is why I hate this. I hate that because I feel like title history is important, and I feel like lineage of the titles is important, and I feel like staying with the titles is important. Mm-hmm. I have a big problem with the idea of Bianca having lost her belt in seconds at SummerSlam, and now she's been drafted away from the belt, and officially on the record, she doesn't get that back. Like, even if she wins the Raw Women's title, like, historically now, the book is just going to show, you look at the Wikipedia entry, you look at WWE.com's entry for the SmackDown Women's title, it is, Bianca lost the belt in 26 seconds, never got it back. And, like, that sucks. That's like, for everybody that was like, oh, don't worry, she'll get it back eventually. Nah, she got the other belt now. Like, right. It's not going to be the belt she lost. It's not going to be the title she lost. It's not going to be the, like, and I just, that all sucks to me.
It all sucked.
Yeah. So going back to the super chats, Charlotte's a mark for herself. Yes, the exchange was stupid, but she didn't have to do Becky like that. By the way, thanks for the content, y'all.
Jacob, her last name is Flair, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I think it's a little unprofessional how she chose to do it. But
her daddy would have did the same thing.
Yeah, I just,
Teflon Don, she got clout.
Teflon Don. I don't know, man. I just think that, there has needed to be a conversation about the women's division for some time. I think the women's division has been a mess. And I remember maybe about a few months ago, people were like, we need Charlotte back. Charlotte will fix this. And I said, no, it won't, because the problem isn't who they are booking. The problem is how they're booking them. Mm-hmm. And so now we have Charlotte back, and it's still kind of a mess. You have no women's match last night.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. I want to read Terrence's super chat really quick. Y'all are killing the game, brothers. Thank you. Is the Charlotte and Becky booking an indictment of how tone-deaf WWE really is? They had to know this was weird. I mean, all of it, like, there's so much you could have done because, like, it's not like they didn't have an out, right? Like,
right.
Bianca wins last week. Sasha wins it. Crown Jewel. Bam. You have the belts on the shows. You didn't have to do the title swap, and you're good. But instead,
I just think they booked day to day. They didn't think about it. They just got there and they were like, "Oh shit, what do we do now? Let's just have them exchange the belts." Stupid ass shit.
So the problem last night. Let's talk about SmackDown, right?
Let's talk.
Look, man. I like professional wrestling. Obviously,
that's what I'm watching the show for.
Yeah, that is what I watch the show for. And again, I mentioned on our first episode that I tend to watch the shows from the perspective of somebody in the audience. I didn't watch the show live, and I'm really glad I didn't, because I was at the Nuggets game. So I Friday nights is going to be really difficult for me, especially during basketball season, to watch wrestling live, because there's going to be live basketball on. But I promise I will watch. And I watch SmackDown. And opening segment with Roman and Brock. This cool. Except I have a little beef with the idea that, when people talk about WWE insulting your intelligence, and I've seen people who are like, what does that even mean? Like, how do they insult our intelligence? I'll give you an example. You, Mr. Viewer, Miss Viewer, Mrs. Viewer, anybody, as a viewer of this show, you know for a fact that Brock Lesnar is not a full-time wrestler. You absolutely know that. You know that this man comes back a couple times a year and does his thing. You don't necessarily need, I
knew where he was going with this, and I was mad when he got to it. Why are you saying this, Adam Pearce? We don't.
Yeah, You don't have to suspend Brock Lesnar.
No.
Nobody in their right mind believes that the reason Brock Lesnar ain't here for the next 3 months is because he's suspended.
No.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to say that.
Because, like, you expect me, viewer, to believe that if Brock Lesnar wasn't suspended, he'd be here?
He's not.
That's not how that works.
No.
That's not how it's worked over the last 10 years. But yet, this also ain't the first time that they have come up with some kind of explanation to write Brock Lesnar off for a few months. We don't have to do that. People know that Brock Lesnar is not a full-time wrestler.
I said that what they should do is reverse suspend him and force him to come into work every single week. Yo, you want to keep doing this? I need you to come next SmackDown. The SmackDown after that. Yo, if you reverse suspend him, force him to come into work, that's going to do way more damage than the thing he always does. And this is even dumber because he's only been back for like 3 weeks or something, 4 weeks. Like, yo, he's suspended. We can't take this. Bro, you want this. Why would you suspend something you want? You want Brock Lesnar to be causing chaos. Oh, no, actually we don't. That's too much.
No, man. Just admit you just wanted them for the show on Thursday. That's it.
Right.
And so, man, I mean...
Look, Brock got his $1 million check and he's out, you guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
See you later.
Are we ready to acknowledge that Pierce is kind of bad at his job as well? Because it's like...
I mean...
He goes, hey, Brock is suspended. I was like, hey, you going to do anything about Sonya continuing to bully Naomi or no? Are you going to do anything about how you ruined the tag division by not giving the tag titles to Dakota and Raquel and then making new titles? And both titles now suck. It's like,
unbelievable.
You're terrible at your job, Adam Pearce. You're terrible at your job.
Unbelievable. He's just trying to get himself over.
And Roman would threaten and fight Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
Never suspended Roman.
Nothing.
Ever.
Nothing. Yeah. He was getting his ass beat for like 2 months and was just cool with it.
And you know what? Okay, I'm going to call myself out. Look, I have been avoiding trying to pronounce your first name. So let me know because I didn't want to be an idiot. And so, like...
I'm going to let him have that one.
Yeah. So just like because I want to say it because I actually want to say the name. It is like the only super chatter whose name I haven't said, and she's given us multiple super chats, and so I want to give the credit where it's due. So, but
alien.
Yeah, let me know. You don't have to super chat that one, by the way. You don't have to super chat.
Let Will know. You can send him a voice note on.
Okay, Jay Shell, perfect. And she said no worries. Jay Shell, no worries. Yeah, there we go. Gave you a bonus for that one. Jay Shell, thank you, Jay Shell. Well, because I was gonna say like Jay Chalet, like I don't know.
I mean, you never know.
So either way. Thank you, Jay Shell. Shout out to Jay Shell. Thank you for the super chats. If you heard me give any super chats without a name on this show, they were Jay Shells. But it's Jay Shell going forward. And I'm going to say Jay Shell one more time. But anyway, so we...
SmackDown sucks. That's what we're going to.
Yeah, so the point I was going with SmackDown.
Stupid wrestling in this
show. All right, look, man.
SmackDown sucks. I hate it. We all hate it. Even before that, it's just a fucking Roman show.
I was watching SmackDown, right? And yeah, so Roman Reigns, he's cut the promo, and does he trust Paul Heyman? Oh no, does he trust Paul Heyman? And this stuff is entertaining, like in the soap opera way. It's fun. I like this stuff. I like not knowing if it's Paul Heyman or where Paul Heyman's allegiance lies. Like this stuff is fun. But I recognized that by the 30-minute mark, there had been no matches taking place. Like 30 minutes goes by, and Adam Pearce is out there. And I swear to you, what was the timestamp I sent you guys? I'm like complaining about this to Phil and Reg as I'm watching it.
I think it might have been at the 30 minute
I think it got up to
mark.
like 40 minutes in the
Yeah, it was, let's see. Yeah, so 38 minutes in, and Drew started walking out. And I'm like, okay, get to a match. And then he grabs the mic, and I'm like, oh my God, more talking.
Right.
And then
get to the fireworks.
Yeah, get to the fireworks factory. Yeah, and then Sami Zayn comes out, and then oh my God, he starts talking again. And I swear to you, the 42-minute mark of the show is where the first bell of the show rings. And then they're like, and then we gotta go to commercial break. And I'm like, shut the up. No, you can't be serious.
Y'all trolling. Y'all are trolling.
Like, I just want to watch the matches. And that match was like, what, 5 minutes? Hold Yeah. Bro, did you just quote Coming to America, LOL, Soul Glow? And yeah, and hold on, we got some super chats that we got to read. Okay, so first off, Jay Shell again. OMG, I love you guys. You're my favorite podcasters. Totally made my day. My name is actually my parents' names put together.
Hard.
James and Michelle. Complicated, I know.
No, it's not. That's classic.
No, that's
black,
cool.
Jay Shell. We know how black people work.
It's different. I like it.
But thanks again. Love interacting on Twitter. No, honestly, that's cool. That is cool as hell.
Yeah, no, thanks. She's very active on Twitter with all the stuff that we have. Well, since, the podcast started, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was actually, because I like stories like that, because we were just recently, my kid's school does a thing called, the whole district does it, but they do what's called the PASS meetings, and it's meetings for parents of students of color to basically sit around at a table and talk about issues that they have with the school or things that might be going right. Yeah, so it's cool.
Cool.
I've been doing it for about 5 years, right? And so we did a thing where we all had to discuss like the origin of our names, and I was just like, it's William. I'm named after my grandpa. Like, that's it. And like, I was loving hearing like everybody else having like cool stories and things like that. And I'm just like, it's William. That's it. I don't know where my grandpas came from, but that was that. So we do those Thursdays, and they're great meetings.
You didn't pull your Kofi hat and go out. My name is William. I don't know what our real name is because this.
Oh wait, hold up. I actually, for the purpose of this show, have it at arm's length just in case it ever needs to come up, because I actually.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you.
Oppression, my brother.
Oppression. Our show is black, boy.
As soon as the comment comes up in the chat, trust me, the hat's coming on.
Yes.
All right.
Beautiful. Damn, I love that.
That's It is at arm's length. So anyway, but part of it is for a Halloween party we're going to next week, where I guess I'll spoil the costume. But my wife was gonna be a witch, and she wanted to be accompanied by a black cat, and she doesn't even know this idea yet. And so I was like, yeah, I'll be a black cat. And so I was just going to like draw like 2 whiskers on and put the kufi on and basically just like walk.
That's hella funny. That's good.
Yeah. So pardon my cough, by the way. I've been sick all week.
Yikes.
I've been trying to reach
Is everything okay,
the mute
my
button.
brother?
Yeah. So hold on. And we got a bunch of super chats in the meantime.
What y'all talking about out there?
Yeah, let's see. Drew said the whole Bloodline storyline has so many flaws in it. After WrestleMania this year, it started going downhill for me. Same. It dominates the show every week.
That's how WWE doesn't know how to book. When they find their guy, they just book him to death. It happened with Stone Cold. It happens with every superstar they ever had. Hogan. If they find it, they just have to shove it down our throats. They're like, okay, we got it with Roman, so now Roman. There was times when SmackDown was only about Roman, and people were like, well, this is great content. It's great. But it's like, I don't want to watch a show that's just about one wrestler. It's supposed to be a variety show. It's supposed to be about all these other talents. And this whole show is just centered around this one storyline. I'm not into that, man. I'm not into the whole show. Is like, well, what's going to happen with the Bloodline? What's going to, I want to know what's going to happen, but like, tell me 5 other stories at the same time, because like, this ain't enough for me.
Terrence says the format of the main roster shows is why I passed on free Raw tickets in my hometown in Raleigh. I drove 2 hours to see AEW in Charlotte.
2 hours.
2 hours. Damn.
You made the right choice, man.
Yeah.
Because you would have got ripped off for that free ticket.
And Cordman316, love the icon, said, tried to watch SmackDown for the first time in years to support King Woods. Turned it off after 45 minutes of no wrestling. I do not miss this.
I do not miss this. Yeah, and for real, Corn, man. Keep it going, cuz.
Yep. And then Noel Taken says, just showing some love. Keep doing y'all thing. Y'all brothers spitting gospel. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, so anyway, my point here is just like, there's no like wrestling happening on this show.
No.
And like, I get it. There's a fine line, right? Because on one end you have, and this isn't just to compare to AEW. Like AEW is obviously a wrestling focused show, and part of being a wrestling focused show is that they don't necessarily have pay-per-views like every month. They have pay-per-views every quarter. So therefore, there's not necessarily like time to waste because you know it's not, every show is not there to build to the next pay-per-view. Whereas like WWE is really there to sell you a Peacock subscription essentially, and each show is there to get you to watch the next Peacock show. And so I get it. It's a different philosophy. But at the same time, like, you're not charging people admission any less. So like,
right.
You know, there has to be, you have to strike a balance in making these shows matter. Like I said on our first episode, there's no such thing as free TV. Like in some way, somebody paid for it. Whether they're paying for it with their money or they're paying for it with their time. Mm-hmm. And so I do feel like wrestling needs to be happening on these shows in some way. At least if you're into wrestling. Like I know some people who are very much just I have two former co-hosts whose favorite line was, wrestling's the worst part of wrestling. Like they like the storylines, they like the drama, they like all that stuff. Like the Roman stuff is for them. Get it.
Hey man. But those guys also didn't know what Campolo Lucchini is, so we
it's what it is. But and then, like, do those guys go to live shows? I like that stuff too, but I don't at all want to see it when I'm there. I don't want to see a bunch of people talking, and I for sure don't want to see them on a screen showing me these damn pre-tapes.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like you have to strike a balance, and I feel like this show did not strike that balance. And thank you, Monica, sending us the super chat. I agree with Reg. I need multiple storylines. Thank you, Monica.
Appreciate you, Monica.
Yeah, and then on top of all of that, this show didn't have a women's match at all.
Nothing.
Not one.
They had one women's angle at the end.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to do the title swap, you should have done a women's match to at least, offset that. But to not have a women's match and then end the show with that title swap, it just was very, very jarring to me.
So there were some slightly encouraging things. We had the debut of Hit Row on this show. You guys seem to have some thoughts on that. I can already see it brewing in Phil's face.
I just don't know what's going on, man. I'm giving it a chance, but I just don't know what's going on. You had the reports coming out the same day of, are they a tag team? Are they not a tag team?
Look.
I don't know.
Shane, Swerve, Isaiah, Scott, Strickland is one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. The vehicle of Hit Row should be that Isaiah Swerve Scott becomes WWE champion, Universal champion, some kind of big champion here. This show is about him. And when I figured out really quick that they're not trying to make this show about him.
Hey, man.
Yeah, go. For me, obviously, I
gotta go.
For me,
ring the bell, and this guy, no one's better than this guy. Ring the bell, ding, ding, ding. No one can do what this guy does, and they are not seeing it.
He was my 2017 Wrestler of the Year, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's because you're related to him." And I'm like, no. Like, honestly, it was because every show I attended that he was at, the way he got the crowd, whether he was wrestling in front of 15 people or I watched him wrestle in front of 1,000 people. No matter what he did, it was like they were into him.
He's cool, man. Yeah, he's a cool wrestler.
He was a cool wrestler, and like the way that it was always just amazing to me to be around people who would all sing "Ain't Nobody," and the amount of people in the audience, and I'm calling people out here now who didn't know who that song was by.
Shame on you. Shame.
It was happening. There were people who were all singing it, and they're like, "Yeah, this is my favorite Michael Jackson song," and I'm like, "What?
Oh, yikes! What now? MJ?
That was a Shaka Khan, man. What is happening here?
Hey, I'm just gonna say it. I think that they missed the boat by when he first debuted, not licensing that song and giving him that record to come out with his theme music because it's just such a big part of his presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
they should have done it.
I know.
Hopefully, Tony Khan's gonna shell out that money when it's go time. Yo, TK, yo, Shaka Khan. Let me get that.
But like honestly, just the way Hit Row, like so. I say this as
they got another Mark Henry. That's all they care about. All they want is a big another Mark Henry. Oh, he can slam two people at the same time. We need him to be world champion.
Hold up. And so I want to read Jay Shell's super chat. She said, me watching WWE is the most toxic relationship in my life. There's no way I should feel trapped being the watching since I was 6. And Rob super chat is popping. Level up. But
we appreciate y'all. Y'all are killing it.
Yeah. Love the super chats today. So,
but yeah, that's me. I'm trapped. I'm like, if I don't watch this show, I'm gonna miss something. But then when I watch the show, I hate it. But then I have to watch the show for this podcast. It's like, what? I don't know what you want me to do here.
So my worry, better show. My worry though is that it did feel like an NXT because that's what it was, right? That like Hit Row formed around Swerve. It was about Swerve, and that's because ultimately he was. It's not to say he's better than anybody else in the group. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that the work was kind of put in for him in NXT first, and not necessarily with the others. So really, they were his supporting cast,
right?
And that's how I felt watching it. And with this debut, my worry was that the way it was presented. Now, I saw the PW Insider story about what Hit Row is going to be going forward. I don't know how true that is. So not necessarily going to speak to that. I'll just speak to what I saw on Smackdown. That it felt like he was just a piece of the group. It didn't feel like his vehicle. And that worries me because he's been there this whole time and the work's been put in for Swerve for him to suddenly not be the guy in the group. And it didn't feel like he was a centerpiece. And I was worried about that. And I hope
he is.
That's not the case. Because
he's the man.
He is the man. Terrence said, last night I had a brief feeling that Swerve would get the Ernie Ladd treatment. He is so gifted on the mic and between the ropes. No, on the tag team.
And we know how they feel about tag teams. I don't let's just start there. They don't care about tag teams. If you're in a tag team, they don't care about you. So there you go.
And Ken said, for real, if I can't sing along to Ain't Nobody, then Shane Strickland's greater than Swerve Scott. Yeah.
Just go watch Lucha Underground because he was doing some crazy shit. Watch his run in MLW.
MLW is what I was going to say. I mean, crazy. Honestly, his match with Matt Riddle, phenomenal for the MLW Championship. So, and that one I think is pretty readily available on YouTube.
Yeah, I think you can watch most of his run on YouTube. So
yeah,
do that.
So that's
and watch AEW in a few months when he's there.
No, I'm not saying that. Don't say.
Well, I didn't say anything.
That is nothing. That is of any.
Well, I'm just talking out loud. There's not anything.
Hey man.
But anyway,
nobody's gonna ring off during one of those dynamites. We're all gonna be dancing. It's gonna be great.
But yeah, I want to see more. Because I think I truly do think that he has all the potential to be a star, and
he's shown it.
It's not that I don't want to see, because like obviously treating guys as equal parts has worked out well. Like when you look at the New Day, but at the same time, vehicle factions also work too, and that's okay. And that's not to say that's not a knock on Top Dollar at all.
Hey, and I appreciate Top Dollar's come up.
Yeah,
man. I really do. I think he's been great on Twitter over the last few weeks. I think he's been doing his thing, but. Man, it just feels like they've taken a step back with Swerve, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, if they're going to use Swerve as a stepping stone, I'm not in at all.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I want to see. There's a lot of things I want to see, but also I feel like if the work is there, go with the work. Don't necessarily go with. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. But anyway, mixed tag show. Thanks. Simply thanks. Nothing to read there,
Listen
but thank
to the
you.
mixed tag show. They're dope.
Yep. So anyway, bottom line, as far as SmackDown's concerned, just where are the matches? That's it. I just want some matches. By the time the show was over, you ran 4 matches. They all collectively ran about 20 minutes total, and that's insane. That's not to say that matches need to have length per se. Like, I am a believer that you don't necessarily have to stretch for time with a match. Like, I'm a big believer in go with what you got. But there's no way that's all they got. There's no way. I refuse to believe that with all that talent you got backstage, that's all the wrestling you have.
You just did a draft.
Way.
And you didn't do... Where are the...
Oh, yeah, and then we saw some new faces backstage, right? Because we saw Aaliyah is going to be on SmackDown.
God, don't say that name out.
Yeah, we saw Xia Li get the vignette.
Yeah.
Xia Li's great, but, I mean, hey.
We saw I'm from the UK, and I fought since I was 12 years old on the streets of Liverpool, since I was Ridge Hollins here now. They give every UK guy the same exact gimmick. I fought at 12 years old in the streets. My mom and dad didn't care about me. I haven't had a real meal since I was 13. I've been fighting for scraps. That's all the same gimmick. William Regal did it, and we loved it. But every guy can't be the same, you guys.
Well, I saw that when they did the little promo with Sheamus, and Sheamus was talking about being the guy of the man who has the banger matches, and like he's right.
Yeah.
Is that gonna happen on SmackDown? I don't know. This ain't the show for that, but it'd be great if it was. But
show sucked. Let's please move on. Oh my God.
All right. So on the other end, we had the TBS title bracket, and yeah, so that was announced. That was announced, and everybody was curious what that was going to mean. Tony Khan appeared on Busted Open earlier in the day to announce that there was going to be 4 buys in the tournament, and who would those buys be? The guess from a lot of people turned out to be correct, and I'm trying to pull up the bracket now. Rather than just continuing to talk about it. So give me
bracketology. There's 4 buys.
Yeah.
One of them's
well, because they announced 12 participants, and of course you can't have a tournament with 12 participants because that's not how that works, or you're going to end up with a triple threat, which that wouldn't be too bad.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that actually would have been cool. But
after that Crown Jewel triple threat.
Yeah. So what they officially announced, and it's uploading right now. There we go. All right. So the brackets announced. Basically, it is the bottom 4 of the top 5 ranked competitors in AEW got a bye. That would be Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, and Chris Statlander. And then the other participants in the tournament would be Anna Jay taking on Jamie Hayter, the Bunny taking on Red Velvet, Serena Deeb taking on Hikaru Shida, and Penelope Ford taking on Ruby Soho. And so that's our tournament to determine the TBS champion. Now, of course, going back to this for a second, it's kind of clear that Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill are probably going to beat their opponents that come out of their matches and move on to Full Gear to face each other. It's looking like the semifinals are going to take place at Full Gear, which, if that's the case, if both semifinals matches take place at Full Gear, then, hey, 3 women's matches at the pay-per-view. Can't complain about that, because we know we're getting Ty Conti, who's the number 1 contender, taking on Britt Baker, and then the other women's matches, I'll take that. So
one will probably be in the pre-show, but we take what we can get.
Yeah. So I don't know. What are we thinking? About
Who you got,
this tournament?
Phil? Who you got?
I mean, we got some good first round matchups. I mean, man, looking at Serena versus Hikaru in the first round is a pretty good matchup for just a first round match.
They set us up pretty nice with that angle they did a few weeks ago.
Man, Anna Jay versus Jamie Hayter is going to be really good. Man, I think Penelope versus Ruby could also be good. But if you are going to tease me with possibly Shida versus Ruby in the semifinals, come on, man, give me that match. It's going to be a good match.
I'm in the Statlander and Ruby if that happens. That's going to be a banger match right there too.
Yeah, I'm assuming the finals are going to be Ruby versus Jade Cargill, if I had to guess. And I'm assuming Jade Cargill is going to win the title.
Yes, I think
But Ruby has a big chance. She could possibly win. Like she is not like it's not like all the way for Jade, I feel.
So I feel like if I were giving my predictions, and shout out to Jay Shell, I think we'll see Ruby Jade or Ruby Rosa. I was wondering, and then I figure Hater should not be taking L. And sorry, that was a chat message I read. For those who are listening audio, that wasn't just me saying that out loud. So pulling up the bracket again. All right, so we've got Anna Jay versus Jamie Hayter. I think you move Jamie Hayter on there, and then Bunny and Red Velvet. I feel like Red Velvet is one that you also have to move on, just because like Red Velvet and Jade Cargill is one of those stories that isn't really finished and is a good one to run back, especially because it was good last time. As a matter of fact, the last two times they had great interactions inside the mixed tag match with Shaq, and their singles match was good. Right. So, like, I would tell that story. I'm fine with that. And
it's looking like up top they could tell the story. Jamie Hayter wins, Thunder Rosa, then Britt screws Thunder out of the match because that's where they're going to end up going.
Yeah, for
anyways.
The world title.
Yeah.
Serena and Hikaru Shida, I think Shida's got to win that one. Penelope Ford and Ruby Soho, I think Ruby Soho moves on with that. But then, like, from there, I would honestly, you put Shida over Nyla Rose, and probably Ruby Soho over Chris Statlander, Thunder Rosa. I mean, Jade Cargill over Thunder Rosa. Jade Cargill over Thunder Rosa. And then finals, I would say, Jade Cargill. To me, if I were doing it, and it's not just because Shida's my favorite wrestler at the moment, or maybe it is, but I would say part of the reason I would go Shida and Jade is because Shida will have crossed that 50-win mark. So she is the winningest female wrestler in AEW. And she was that year-long reigning women's champion. I feel like if anybody has the biggest rub to give Jade Cargill, I do think Jade Cargill wins it. If anybody has a big rub to give her, it's Hikaru Shida, just because of the fact that she is so accomplished in AEW. And so... And kind of in the same way that, like, Britt has the title for having beaten the winningest woman in AEW, Jade Cargill give her that same rep of, like, she didn't just beat these top women. She beat the winningest woman in all of AEW. The only woman to cross 50 wins. Jade Cargill beat her. Like, I think that is how I would go in the finals.
Right.
For me.
Yeah. I agree with that, but I also think because I think Ruby is going to lose, I think Ruby beating Shida matters that much more because I think giving Ruby that rub, even though she's probably going to lose the tournament, matters.
People love Ruby too, so like she's going to have heat. And Jade is just like Jade against Ruby is a good story to tell because like Jade has that big that bitch energy, and so I think it's gonna work out. Either way, it seems like a vehicle for Jade, which is dope for us. It's gonna be some great matches in there. Red Velvet's gonna tear it up. Thunder's always tearing it up. It's gonna be a pretty good tournament, I think.
Yep. Drew Super Chat says I'm predicting Rosa versus Deeb for the finals.
That could go.
And Kimberly
they like Serena a lot.
TBS title greater than Queen's crown. Look, man, what's interesting is it didn't have to be this way.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
They did this to themselves.
But this is one of those like kind of layups for AEW. Like if they miss this as a layup, that's a shame because they do have at least the benefit of WWE having not. and that's not a knock on Zelina Vega, because I think that she could potentially run with the Queen gimmick. And I thought the match with Doudrop for the 5 minutes it got was pretty good. That said, I think that because there's so much like kind of not so happy discussion around the Queen's Crown tournament, I think, like I said, it's an easy layup for AEW to be like, hey, we ran a tournament around the same time, and ours was better.
Did Selena win a match bore that tournament in WWE? She didn't win one match. That's why no one. Come on.
I know.
What are you? What?
That's why it makes no sense.
Didn't she win that random match over Liv, though?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Jay Shell says,
I think we need to talk about Big Swole, because that's like a pretty big thing I saw yesterday was we're swole. So
yeah, where's Big Swole in the tournament?
Is it health issues? Because I know she had like some setbacks maybe like a few weeks ago or maybe a month ago with her health. So maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. Because I can't think of the last taping she's been at. Because she hasn't been on Dark or Elevation recently.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's interesting. Now I'm thinking of like, what about Kara Hogan? What about Diamante? They had like some other kind of people that could have been slotted in there, I think.
I was expecting Layla Hirsch. I'm really surprised she wasn't in there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, one place I'll give credit is that these are the 12 most like prominent women in AEW.
Right.
Like to make sure we know this is a title that's going to matter. It's not like there's any faces in here who aren't kind of established faces. Because, you know, I've heard there's a lot of discussion around the AEW men's eliminator title eliminator tournament, and the names that are in that and some of the names that are missing, because you can very much see that AEW is trying to protect certain names because like the big question is, where's Miro? Well, Miro ain't winning the tournament, so like they don't want to give Miro a loss.
MJF could have been in there. Like they they're protecting a lot of guys.
Yeah, and they're like, and they're trying to not give certain guys a loss because it's like this is probably going to be won by Bryan Danielson, and so therefore, it's basically like, who can we afford to have lose in this tournament? Because only one person can win, and everybody else has to take a loss. So I feel like that's where that's going.
Like my big homie, Big Tears yesterday.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, we could talk about that because so first off, Brian says missed live last show as my appendix exploded. Oh no. And I was in agony for a week, but somehow I feel Reg suffered more at Raw. Trios champs, you all killing it.
Oh my
man! Thank you. First official Fightful Trios champ. We'll take it.
Appreciate you, Brian.
Man, Colt said
Goodwill.
They set the bracket up nicely where Jade could have two matchups against established vets that could give her some awesome matches. Yeah. That's the reason I think it'll be Shida and Jade in the finals, mainly because one of my favorite things about Hikaru Shida and is that everyone's best match is with her. And I feel like that's not a coincidence. Mm-hmm. Like when people were like, wow, Penelope Ford can go. That came after her match with Hikaru Shida. Ty Conti had her best match with Hikaru Shida. The match where everybody was like, whoa, has Britt Baker arrived, was that match at the Nightmare Factory with Hikaru Shida. It just feels like people step up when they're in the ring with her. And I feel like if Jade is to have that kind of career-making match for her, the one where you're going to put the title on her, the one to give her her coronation moment, I feel like she's the opponent for that because Shida makes people step up. I have to say, by the way, because I haven't gotten to mention this on Grapsody, it's one of my favorite stories ever. But I think the moment my respect for Philip Lindsey was cemented was this man just tweeted, I would love for one day to interview Hikaru Shida with Michael Nakazawa translating. And then, like, how long ago or how long later was it you post a picture of you guys on Zoom?
About 3 weeks.
Yeah, about 3 weeks later. 3 weeks later, we got Hikaru Shida, Michael Nakazawa, and Phil Lindsey on a Zoom. And I'm just like, he just manifested that. He made it happen.
I'm still not quite sure how that happened, but I'm gonna victory lap that when because Will brought it up, and we made that happen.
No, honestly, that was like the coolest moment to me because you said I want to do this, and then 3 weeks later you're like, I'm doing it, and
it's pretty damn cool.
I can't.
That's hard. Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things. Rob said Zelina won because cosplay. I am Lucha said I'm down with Jade winning, but when does Rosa get her flowers? I think she has to win the world title. I think she's going to win the world title, and I think that's ultimately where hers comes. She has to be the one to beat Britt. So that's where I think that's coming in. So that's why I'm okay if she doesn't win the TBS title, because I think she ultimately, like, look at how over she is. Like, that she's the world title. She has to be. And then Fert says, Miss Swole, love the trio of Red, Swole, and Kylan King. Yeah, they were like doing a thing for a minute. And then that disappeared. And King Ala Rosa needs the championship. And somebody's asking in the chat, where is that interview? Philip, you want to let them know where it is?
That was a part of a complex article I did last year. I will find it and link it for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'll find it and link it.
Either way, like I said, still one of the coolest flexes anybody could have pulled off.
Hey man, got to talk to Shida, Scorpio, Nyla Rose, and Jungle Boy, I think, for that interview. So yeah, pretty cool thing, and it was for Complex. It was, I don't know, that was one of the coolest
flexes all around. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, and then not to spoil anything, but Reg's got some flexes coming up here soon. We'll leave it at that.
Oh my god, it's been a week. I'll tell you
that. But yeah, so talking about things we got out of Rampage last night. Powerhouse Hobbs lost to Orange Cassidy. I mean, so I absolutely saw that coming. Just
they set it up with
Orange Cassidy with Moxley.
Thing. Yeah,
it was just how we were gonna get there, and they showed off the first time Orange Cassidy beat Powerhouse Hobbs.
That's still on the big homie's mind. When I interviewed him, I was like, "Hey, remember the Orange Cassidy?" He remembers exactly how many seconds it was. Like, he remembers that, and he got his revenge last night. I mean, he didn't get the victory, but he beat his ass.
Yeah. So
I didn't like the finish, man.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that Hobbs was gonna lose, but I just didn't like the execution. Because I mean, he had dominated the entire match, and for them to basically do like the fluky roll up win,
I hate it.
It was like, I don't really care for this.
I hate it. It always makes the guy look like, essentially Hobbs couldn't beat a wounded man.
Yeah.
So, that gets a little frustrating.
So Cyclops is better than Wolverine, said Scorpio been dead to me since he defended Tessa. Again, this is one of those things where I have to let you know.
I mean, Sasha's been in the training with
That's what I was about to say.
I can't
where's
the line?
A lot of your favorites are going to let you down.
Right.
Pro wrestling has taught me that. A lot of your favorites are going to let you down.
A lot of your favorites hang out with the fool in Florida that they're not supposed to be hanging out with. So
a lot of your favorites do very much hang out at Vision Dojo. Sasha is very much like a get Tessa a job kind of person. Like there's. Yeah, and the thing is, it's a really easy thing to analyze from the outside because, like, I can very much judge that situation and just be like, yeah, fuck these people. But I do recognize that it's probably harder from the inside because, like, if this is somebody that like is your friend, it's probably a lot harder to be like, yeah, like fuck my friend, like you know, because I know that personally, I would have a hard time being that person if I did have somebody that it's like. Well, they were never racist to me, so like, what am I supposed to do?
I can't get behind it. They were never racist to me.
I know, here's the thing: I could never get behind that as an outside observer. Luckily, I ain't got those kind of friends.
Yeah,
but
hey, and just want to say, by the way, Cyclops has always been better than Wolverine. Great name, by the way. The Scorpio interview, I was I was a little bit taken back because when I did interview I got like maybe like 20, 15 minutes of content for that I didn't use for the article. And I was kind of bummed that I didn't get everything in there. Cause I mean, we talked about like Nipsey Hussle. We talked about a bunch of things that did not make it in there. And so, hey, if you're watching Scorpio, if you want to come through and we can, get that content here on our podcast, we'll take it.
We can talk about SoCal wrestling when you used to wear a mask. Man, come on, we out here. We know what's up.
Yeah.
Some MMA.
Aiden says, when I first watched Lucha Underground, Killshot immediately stood out to me as a guy I wanted to see more of. When WWE signed Swerve, I was so happy. Man, everybody was happy for Swerve. You could not be happy. Look, and there's a little bit of discussion now going on about Wolverine and Cyclops.
Nah, I'm standing on it. Cyclops is better than Wolverine.
I hate I recognize that like the leader gets crapped on a lot in a lot of situations. I'm not that guy. Like I like leaders. I am a Cyclops guy. I'm also a Jason guy. I like Liu Kang. Like all the people where Leonardo, not so much. I'm more of a Donatello guy.
See, I think I liked Wolverine like back in the day with the cartoons and the video games. When they started making movies and they started making them all sympathetic and all this, that's when like the heat started coming off of them, I think. The movies is what did
it. So, number 3, big story happened this week. And one that nobody saw coming. It's one of those like
came out of nowhere.
Like I can't believe Gato was like sitting on this one, but man, Shibata's back.
Man, I was surprised because I got up that morning and I saw the videos and I was like, "What is this?" And I thought it was just him doing his entrance. And then I was watching. I was like, "Wait, this is a match." So I had to go out of my way to watch the finals earlier than I would. And man, just watching him come out and do his entrance and then have like an actual, exhibition match where it wasn't like a whole bunch of bumping and contact, but it was a match. And for him to afterwards say just so defiantly, like, next time I'm here, I will wrestle, and then do the back bump. It was emotional, man. Like for you guys that don't know Shibata's story, he won the New Japan Cup in 2017, correct? And he then moved on to the match with Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And he used to use the headbutt a lot for like his finisher. And he did a headbutt in this thing that went horribly wrong. And he had a lot of health issues since then. And he was supposed to not wrestle again. And so this is kind of like, he was never supposed to wrestle again. He was and I mean, I know they've done the Kenta stuff. I know they've teased him possibly getting in a ring, but this was like real. This was like legitimate in our face. He's in a ring. It was beautiful.
It was kind of like Daniel Bryan's story, pretty much. Never thought it was going to happen again. I'm like, well, this guy's retired. What a great career he had. And then one random day, actually, he's back. And it just same thing happened again. I woke up. All my internet's just like blowing up because everybody's like, "Oh my god, what happened?" Shibata's back,
and he looks fantastic. 41 years old, he looks amazing.
Right.
Honestly, like I said 2 weeks ago, just never say never till somebody's in the ground.
Right. That's it.
Because you
pro
can't.
Wrestling, man.
Yep.
Pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling, yeah. There's nobody I'm willing to believe has had their last match until they've had their last match.
Right.
And Ken in the chat says, I don't know when during the match it happened, but after it ended, I realized I was crying, and that's why wrestling is great.
Pro wrestling, man.
Yeah, every time I think about Shibata, I think of him in the yoga pose sitting next to the New Japan Cup, and it's just such a cool image, and just not getting that crowning moment of him becoming IWGP champion was always so sad to me. So it's just cool to see him back.
Right. And he stayed busy, man. He was the coach of the LA Dojo, the New Japan training school, essentially. And the students that have came out of there are insane, man. Clark Connors, he has a bunch of very talented students, and he was doing a lot being retired. And so to see him back is even crazier. And like every wrestler in the world is like, oh, I wish that I could have a match with him. I wish it was me. I want to be the one. I want to be the one. So like to see what he's gonna do is crazy.
I want him to be safe, of course. I mean, but there were so many cool things like Xavier coming out in the same gear that he wrestled him in 2017. Right. Like, come on, man. Like that type of stuff is why we watch wrestling.
Great moment.
I am La Lucha sent the super chat. Bruh, give me Shibata versus Malachi. Are you kidding me? The list is incredible at this point now. Bryan
Danielson.
Yes,
that was Bryan.
Come on,
Danielson.
Just give it to us. We want it.
Look, man.
Give it to us. We want it, and we love it. We'll see it. But honestly, if he just wrestled Kenta, I'd be into it.
Yeah, so, we kind of need the Kenta match at this point.
Like, I mean, everybody is immediately. I think that is what I love about the state of pro wrestling right now is that, there were questions months ago about what is the Forbidden Door really accomplishing, right? But I think we're starting to see what it's accomplishing, and that when somebody makes a comeback, you notice the opponents people start naming are from anywhere,
right?
Because it's not just the case of they signed to this company so they can face people in this company. If they exist, people are just like, I want to see them face this person that also exists, and that is the Forbidden Door.
It's all a possibility now. It didn't used to be like that. Now it's like, that's not really a crazy thing. That could possibly happen.
Yeah, companies working together.
Except for if it's Vince and WWE. But.
Right. So, like, that is where it's like, if you sign to WWE, you know that the possibilities are other WWE opponents. Mm-hmm. If you sign to literally anywhere else, your possibility is literally anybody not in WWE. Right. And so, like, that's really cool. That is so cool that that's where we're at. The fact that Bound for Glory is tonight, that the main event is between an AEW talent and an Impact talent, although this could be the probably the end of that for a little while. Who knows? But yeah, I'm happy with the state of wrestling in 2021. This is the happiest I've been as a wrestling fan in a really long time.
Right.
And
it does feel like anything can happen right now. Like, I mean, just seeing Shibata in a ring again, it just seems crazy. Like, I know, like I said, we've seen him do the drop kick and the Kenta thing, but this just felt different. I mean, him doing his entire entrance and doing an actual match was just like, what am I watching right now?
Right. Great show.
Well, so we got a big one to talk about. All right. Crown Jewel took place this past Thursday. And you know what? Sometimes things just come through. Because Xavier Woods is the king of the ring.
Man.
I was on Cage Match the other day.
King Woods.
And found myself a little bit disappointed. Because I feel like Cage Match ratings, for the most part, like, sometimes Cage Match ratings can align with my own. There have been times where they absolutely have not. Like, there is no way I would have Natalya that high. But...
And what Natty did.
What now?
Natty just caught a stray. She had home rubbing on her cats.
But that said, Xavier Woods is currently on Cage Match rated at a 6.84. And I just thought, why?
Nah.
What do you have against Xavier Woods? How do you not see that this is an all-around solid performer? I mean, there is nothing to me that Xavier Woods can't do. And that blows my mind. He is a true performer.
Just off top, do they not include New Day matches? Like, if you're including New Day matches, like, you're an 8 minimum off of them. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Like, a lot of people just think that, like, oh, he's the third-tier member of the New Day, so we just have to rate him lower. But, like, he comes through.
Right.
And I remember, that first New Day title run was mostly Big E and Xavier. And so, or that first big one, the one where they were champs for the where they had the record-setting run. And so that was their second reign. And so a lot of people just kind of saw Xavier as kind of a third wheel there. And then they like consciously made sure that in the reign that followed, that Xavier got to have a lot of those matches. And a lot of those ones with the Usos that took place over the Smackdown titles. Xavier was in a lot of those. And it was like making sure that he got his due as well. Because he is an incredible performer.
Right.
But there's like nothing he can't do. You need a guy who delivers on the mic. Not only can Xavier deliver you like, you know, angle-worthy promos on the mic, but he's like solid ambassador. Like when I think about the people who you would want to be ambassadors for WWE, you know, like John Cena is obviously like the top guy. You know, you want to put a mic in his hands and he'll come out and talk about whatever charity WWE is working with or whatever event they have going on. And John Cena is good at that. But like second to me is Woods. I feel like he's the guy that you would put that microphone in his hands and he will put over whatever event you're putting on. He is that guy. He is your brand ambassador. He's a solid in-ring performer.
I feel like they don't utilize him enough, actually. Like he represents a whole fan base of people, of gamers, of people in this, you know, cosplay culture and Comic Con culture that they don't even mention it half the time. They don't even talk about him having up, down. They don't even talk about him being a G4 host. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Like Xavier Woods, to me, part of why I love him so much is because that dude is like my spirit animal. Right. Because like when I was, in '98 I would have been 11. So when I was 11. I was channel surfing and I came across a network called Tech TV. And actually it was called ZDTV at the time. But I became obsessed with that network. All of their shows, The Screensavers was their flagship show and I loved it. They had GameSpot TV that eventually became XPlay. Anyway, I was obsessed with Tech TV. Like I used to be on their forums, their message board, all that stuff. Eventually, Tech TV was bought by Comcast and merged with G4, and it all became G4. Eventually, G4 canceled all their own shows, and their only shows that became flagships were all Tech TV shows. Attack of the Show was a spinoff of the Screensavers, and XPlay came from Tech TV. But either way, I was obsessed with Tech TV. I, for a long time, thought, because like I was on the Tech TV forums, there were no black people on those forums. And for the longest time, I felt alone in all of that. And so when I heard Xavier Woods talk about how he was a huge fan of Tech TV and G4, but his big problem with it was that he never saw faces on it that looked like him, I was like, that is my dude. Like, I absolutely get it.
To draw back to what you said earlier, you know his favorite Ninja Turtle is? It's Donatello.
Like, look at that. There are just times where he just
Michelangelo's the hardest Ninja Turtle. Real quick.
He'll drop a reference, or it'll be like, nobody got that. Like, you know, y'all didn't see he was quoting Street Fighter the movie. But like, I did, because you know, he called that like one of the greatest cinematic masterpieces ever. And like, here's the thing, it is. I saw that movie day one. I saw it Christmas Eve, 1994. My mom, I was 7 years old. My mom dropped us off at the theater, saw Street Fighter the movie. Greatest experience of my life. I don't care if it's a horrible movie. I know that movie stinks, but it speaks to my childhood. But like the fact that like I just feel like he has been there's so much about me as a nerdy black dude who likes pro wrestling and is into tech and games and things like that. And he is just that guy who's doing it, and he's doing it on the forefront, and he's making it so that, you know, there's probably a whole younger generation who probably would have felt out of place that can now see somebody like Woods front and center and live in their dreams and feel like, you know what, this is okay. Right. This is okay. I don't have to feel out of place for being what I am and being who I am, and that's really cool. And I just, like I said, I feel like there's a hero in Woods, and so for him to
he got his crowning moment for all that, right?
And you know, I mentioned Phil manifesting something he wanted and for Woods to have put out there, I want to be King of the Ring. I think the King of the Ring tournament should come back, and I want to win it. And
he was adamant about it.
He talked it up.
For about
really
5
quick,
years.
Jay Shell just mentioned Natty ranked higher than Bianca. Please. It's there.
Natty catching all the strays, bro.
I am curious. I have to look at this. What is Bianca on Cage Match? 7.9.
They're doing Woods dirty. 6 point something. Jeez Louise.
I mean, I don't know, man. When we talk about representation, though, because that is a big conversation on Twitter a lot. When I think about representation, it's not just do we see black people on television. It's do I see myself in black people on television.
Right.
And I for a long time, like I'm a big rap fan, and I know a lot of rappers, but I'm not a street guy. And so, when I saw Lupe come out,
I knew
Lupe
had like this, and I knew where
he had like the Game Boy Advance, and he was like anime fan. I was like, he's me. He's from my city.
Right.
He's from the South Side.
Right.
Like he says a lot of things that I deeply believe in. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Xavier Woods is kind of the same thing as a wrestler. Like I see a lot of things in him that are representative of my time growing up. And so when I see him go and get 3 other black guys and go, hey, I want these guys to succeed, not just because, I want to succeed at something. I want Kofi to succeed because Kofi is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and he's not giving his flowers. And, I've seen how history treats us. I've seen how history treats somebody like Shelton Benjamin, who should have been a world champion. And I'm not letting that happen to my guy. And he did it. Like seeing him lift Kofi up on his shoulders and just cry real tears is like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in wrestling. And I mean, the fact that kicked off, not just Kofi getting his win, but Big E getting his win, and Woods saying all this time that he always loved tag team wrestling and he always loved King of the Ring, and he got that. And just seeing those 3 win together, not having to split up to do it, not having to change who they are to do it, but to actually like come together and win. I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest stories in wrestling, in my opinion.
It was,
you could have said that better.
Yeah, that was it. Definitely. Woods worked so hard for this. I was nervous throughout a lot of this tournament because they don't give people what they want ever in the WWE. So like, I was like, he's going so hard that this is the exact reason why he's going to lose. There's a bunch of time we're like, oh, he's going to lose right here. Or he's going to lose there. Or Finn's going to beat him or this or this or this or that. And they didn't do it. He had a great match with Finn and he won.
Yeah.
And he got his moment. And even last night when they were crowning him, I was again like, if Kofi Kingston kicks this guy in the back of the head, I am going to flip out. But it didn't happen. So listen, please don't do this.
No, I don't want them to split because, again, it goes with the insulting intelligence kind of thing.
Right.
Sometimes go with what we know. We know that these guys have genuine love for each other. We know that these guys have each other's backs, and there are times where I don't want to see I don't want what I know necessarily defied. I do think that there was a missed opportunity in doing Kofi versus Woods. I don't think you needed to do it in a grudge kind of way. I think that more so, I just think there was a bigger story in Woods winning or advancing in the King of the Ring by having beaten the member of the New Day who became WWE champion first. Like, I just think that that would have meant more. And also, I didn't want Kofi to lose to Jinder Mahal.
Out of all things.
Yeah.
Come on.
And right quick, because I see this a lot. We get this almost every year. Who should turn heel and split up New Day? The New Day should never split up. Nobody in that group should ever go heel.
Never.
Because it goes against who they are as characters. It goes against who they are as people. It just doesn't work.
I won't say that they don't need to go heel, because I'll say this. They made it as heels, right? Like, I don't think they need to change per se, because I think that, like, honestly, I think Kofi didn't get enough of a run as a heel, to be honest. Kofi coming out in Nashville being like, country music sucks, but like, he like legit believes that. And he's just like, look, man, that stuff sucks. Like, I wanted to see more of that from Kofi, because I felt I felt that.
But they need to all be together. There's no reason to split these people up.
But like, here's the thing. I think if you are gonna split them, I'm fine with it happening in a way where
Will's
it's happening.
talking crazy right now. I have to interrupt him. What are you saying right now?
Hold on. I'm fine with it happening in a way that it's kind of happened with Big E, where like we know they're together, they're just not together. Like they're on their own, they're doing their own thing, but they didn't necessarily like break apart. Like if Kofi or if Xavier wants to go after the Intercontinental title or the world title, or like Kofi wants to go after this, like you can have them go after their individual aspirations without breaking the group up per se. Like it's just like, you know, oh he's doing his own thing, I kind of look at it as like I don't know, I guess because they haven't had the reunion that I've wanted, because I was gonna say like Outcast, but but then like I didn't get it where I want. But I guess I see it like I saw Outcast in 05, where I'm like, you know, eventually, you know, they're doing their own thing right now, but eventually, you know, they'll come back together. But now I'm here in 2021, and I'm like,
I mean, they were at Coachella. They came back.
Yeah, well, yeah. I still haven't had my album.
Right. I get
it. real quick, have you guys heard the story of the making of, how they got Andre to do the Bun B record, the international
players anthem?
Yeah. So apparently, Big Boy was on it first, and he did the drums for it, and they played it for Andre, and Andre's like, I hate the drums. So when you hear Andre's verse, that's why the drums are different on his part. And so
there's no drums on his part.
Right. Exactly. That's why the drums are different. So they took that part off to get Andre on the song. And then like he didn't want to do the video. So they were like, how can we get you to make this video? And then he basically pitched them, tell us what you want to do in the video. And so that's why we got the concept of the video of him getting married, and that all came from Andre to get him to do the video, because he didn't want to do the video otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
He would. And look what happened. A classic happened.
I know. It's always a classic. But like thinking about what it took to make it happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. They can go heel as a group, but I mean, we don't need a barbershop thing. We don't need one of them to turn on the other. Because I just think it just defies everything that they are. Like their entire point is that they buck against wrestling tropes. So to go back to a wrestling trope and split them up in a way that all wrestling cliques split up, it tells me that you don't understand New Day. That you don't understand the point of what they've been trying to do for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because WWE fans think the only way someone can become world champion is if they lose their friend, because WWE has told you, no friends. But friends, how many of us have them? None if you want to be world champion.
They proved you wrong 2 times now. Like, again, watching them lift Kofi up is just one of the highlights of
I cried. I was crying.
Cried real tears on that one. I mean, watching them run out when Big E won, and just watching how fast they ran out. And it wasn't like one of those wrestling, hey, we're coming out. No, it was like they were legitimately coming out because that's their guy.
Right.
Like you can't make up that kind of stuff. You cannot, you cannot put on an act to do that. And so I feel like to put on an act to break them up would be a mistake.
Reading this from Razor Jim, said Kenny said to Junior about the Bryan versus Kenny match being a great match, but to him it was just another Wednesday. I popped. Big fan of Street Fighter the movie. I mean, that movie's got so many one-liners. I mean, it's corny as hell. Like, honestly, we reviewed it on the RBR Patreon like a year ago, and it hit me that I was like, this was like a movie they already had written, and once they got the Street Fighter license, they were just like, oh, let's just insert Street Fighter characters into this. Because they don't have there's no street fights in the movie. Like, I recognize it's not a good
street fights in the movie. Have you watched the, I think with the How Did This Get Made about it? So good. Oh my God, it's so good. Like they go over all of the behind the scenes stuff, like Jean-Claude Van Damme and everybody's out there getting massaged up every day, and he's out there snorting coke allegedly and sleeping with Kylie Minogue. It's just a crazy story.
I love it. I love some Van Damme.
Oh, okay. I didn't know all of that. No, I didn't know all of that. Are you kidding me?
God.
I knew the Coke story, but I didn't know the Kylie Minogue story.
You got the Coke behind the scenes for this. I mean, just the making of the music video for Hammer and Deion Sanders.
Oh yeah, straight to my feet.
You gotta look up all this stuff. It's so great.
Man, I was just thinking about the 90s and how, like, you could get away with that kind of stuff in the way you couldn't today. The fact that, like, for those who didn't grow up in the time, I'm going to let you know. There's a song called Straight to My Feet. It's on the soundtrack to Street Fighter. It is by Deion Sanders and MC Hammer. Like, just saying that out loud. That there's a song.
Deion Sanders and MC Hammer.
Oh my God.
There's a song by Deion Sanders and MC Hammer on a video game movie soundtrack, and the music video has Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile in the video. That is something that absolutely would not happen today. You would not have football player with rapper who's like extremely popular in pop circles doing a music video. Like, none of this would happen today. But I'm telling you, Straight to My Feet was my jam as a kid. I had the cassette tape. I was like, yeah, man, Deion Sanders. I was like, Deion Sanders is rapping. This is cool.
He was cool, though.
Yeah, prime time with the man.
He's the man.
But no, if you haven't seen the video for Straight to My Feet, go look it up. It is hilarious. Please go watch it.
As a matter of fact, I want to give a shout out let me see if I can find it. I don't think I've mentioned this on the show, but let me see if I can find it first. Damn it. I'll have to post it. But it was one of my brother's crowning achievements. But so little backstory about my family, right?
Yeah.
So most people know that I have a relative that wrestles, but I also have a brother who's an actor.
If you know black sitcoms, you know this man.
My brother has been in everything from the 90s. He was in Sister Sister. He was in The Parenthood. He was in Sweet Valley High, Clueless. I could pretty much and it was an event in my household. Whenever his shows were about to premiere, we sat around and we're like, "Here comes David's episode of Family Matters," and like it was always just like a quick appearance, but he was in the show. Like the episode of Family Matters you can find him in is called Original Gangsta Dog, and if you go find that, it was where
Original Gangsta Dog.
Oh yeah, because you remember when like Urkel would like take the serums and become different people.
Mm-hmm.
Like he became Stefan or he became Bruce Lee. But anyway,
OGD like a relative though.
OGD was a relative. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
OGD was his cousin, but he was played by Jaleel White. But anyway. My brother introduces Missy Elliott in that episode because Missy Elliott is performing, and my brother, he comes up on stage and he's like, "And ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, Missy, Misdemeanor Elliott," and like that's his appearance in the episode. But in the '90s, that's what my brother did. In Sister Sister, he was in the episode Slime Party where he played Tamara's boyfriend, and it was really cool to me because as a kid, he got a wrestling line in that episode. I was like, and it's really quick.
Worlds were colliding.
I know, well, because like I told you, I grew up in a family wrestling fan. So like the fact that he managed to squeeze that in there was always so dope to me. Because the line is Tia and Tamara are going to be on Slime Party, and it's a game show. And they ask him to come watch, and he's like, "Yeah, maybe I could find time for that between, you and wrestling." And that was it. That's all he said. But the fact that he dropped the wrestling name, just the wrestling in general, was like always cool to me. Look at that episode's in season 4. I think it's the second to last episode of that season, and then he's also in the episode of it's called The Audition. It's the episode where Tamara has to sing "I'm Going Down." And he plays Tamara's boyfriend, but he has a different name than he had in season 4. Like I think it was like Daryl in one, and then Eric in another.
Give him coins.
And then he was also in Smart Guy. He played Will, and that was kind of cool because So either way, my whole point here, where I was going with this, was he got this role, and my brother is a really big Cowboys fan, and it's annoying as hell, but he's a really big Cowboys fan, and so he got to do this commercial with Deion Sanders I think it was a Foot Action commercial, and like I've seen it on YouTube every once in a while. But he like gets to introduce Deion Sanders and like introduce the shoe, and for him to have like, again, we're talking about people manifesting their dreams. He like, this man like walked around our house in this Deion Sanders jersey every day, and he saw the audition for the commercial to be the Deion Sanders guy, to talk about Deion Sanders in this commercial. And he made it happen. He manifested talking about Deion Sanders and this new Foot Action shoe that you could get only at Foot Action. And if I could find that commercial, Deion Sanders, Cowboys, David Michael is my brother's name. Obviously, he goes by his first and middle name. But that was...
That's incredible. That's an incredible story.
Yeah,
man.
that's the story, by the way.
And your brother's a legend. He's a black sitcom legend now.
He is.
He just pop up.
He is. He pops up in black sitcoms. I see memes every once in a while where somebody would be like, it's just a picture of him, and they'd be like, anybody remember this brother? He was in like everything in the 90s. And I'm like, yeah, that's my brother.
Yes, I do remember him.
Yeah, I do remember this brother.
Breakfast.
That is funny.
Yeah. So the final story. Speaking of manifesting,
the number one
making
story.
Things happen. Number one, you want to manifest a career, you want to manifest your dreams, and not only that, but you have the year of a lifetime. Bianca Belair topped PWI. She is the number one in the PWI 150. She won the Royal Rumble. She main evented WrestleMania. She became the Smackdown Women's Champion. And, it's not just to say that this is
She took pictures with Meg Thee Stallion.
She did. She has had just a crazy year.
Yeah. I mean...
and she's number one.
Number one with a bullet.
Yeah, I mean, hey, first black woman to win a Royal Rumble, first black woman to top this list,
second black woman to top this list.
Oh,
Awesome Kong's number one. 2008.
There you go. 2008. That's why we have the PWI contributor here, man. Come on, man. Fact checking this.
Yeah.
But no, number one, like one of the first women to main event WrestleMania, all within the same year. That's insane.
Her run, that first of all, was at the match at WrestleMania, and it was amazing. It exceeded expectations. I can't even believe it happened. It was great. I was yelling the entire time. Bianca has been on an insane run. She has taken everything that they've thrown at her and just knocked it out of the park. Like, she's taken on the role as a leader, and she was a women's champion, and she was out there doing publicity stuff and just like making it happen for WWE. She was out at Rolling Loud. Like, she took on the role and she did it very well, and she earned herself the number one spot atop the PWI Women's 150, beating out an insane amount of talented women. I've seen so many people saying they thought Britt Baker should have been number one. A lot of people saying they thought Deonna Purrazzo should have been number one. It was a fight. Like, it wasn't just set up for Bianca. Even after all she did, there was a lot of women that did a bunch of amazing things this year. It was a fight up top.
Yeah. I definitely feel like the top three this year, they could have went hand in hand. Like, anybody out of those top three could have been number one this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like Utami had a great year, had that great match with Shuri that got the 5.5 stars from Meltzer. She's been a great champion. Then I feel like Deonna's had an amazing run since she left WWE. Either of them could have been number one easily,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm glad that Bianca got it. I have a feeling that, just all the historical things she did this year helped her get the edge.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and because it is historical, what she did this year. And like, looking at the top 10 even, it's a great list. And it's a diverse list in a lot of ways. In that it's diverse in terms of companies. Like, there's so many companies represented here, and it's diverse in terms of racial background. Like, as a matter of fact, True.
There's a lot of talented women, man. There's an insane amount, like 150. There's more than 150. That's just this list. Like, it's incredible out there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Britt Baker the only white woman that is in the top 10?
What do we consider Deanna?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's two.
There's two. I believe they
are.
He said, "What do we consider?"
we consider her a champion because we respect women around here.
Yes,
don't cancel us.
That's it. We love it.
But yeah, so we have Cyclops Better Than Wolverine says Belair is one of the few NXT success stories. I mean, well, here's the thing. There was a desire to see her succeed, and that is the key to an NXT success story. That's the key to any success story in WWE. If WWE wants somebody to succeed, they will get them there. The idea of somebody failing WWE is WWE giving up on them, essentially.
Yeah.
Because especially now, Cena kind of gave them the balls to be like, hey, we don't care what the fans think. We'll push whoever we want.
Right.
And so since they've had that gall for the last, we're going on 2 decades of that. It's been 16 years since the original John Cena push. Since they've had that, essentially any failing of WWE is them backing off. Now, sometimes you do have to take your hands off. Sometimes you do have to go, all right, we're not getting what we want out of this. But ultimately, it is, if they want something to succeed, they can make it succeed. And so with Bianca, if you noticed, pretty much from the time she was called up, there was never a time period where you have felt, and it's only been a year and a half, so, but in that entire time, you've never felt like, they've let up off of Bianca, per se. Right. Now, I think they've done wrong by Bianca, but I've never felt like...
SummerSlam. We'll never forget SummerSlam.
Yeah, we'll never forget SummerSlam. But I've never felt like there wasn't a desire to put her in a top spot.
Right. She's always presented as a big star. Like, since she's been on the main roster, they've never, not been, Bianca's next up, Yeah.
And they're saying in the chat, she's a homegrown PC success story. And that is a big reason for that. Because you can see, Nikki Cross. They were after a week,
they were she's a superhero. We're bored.
Yeah. We're done with that. Yeah. It obviously was more than a week, but either way, you can very much see that.
Her time on Raw was forgettable. She didn't really do anything on Raw. I feel like the move to SmackDown is what really catapulted her.
But that whole time she was on Raw, they were doing those vignettes. She didn't specifically do anything, but they were producing content for her in that they were featuring those vignettes every single week with Bianca Belair. As a matter of fact, I was a little annoyed that I was like, you invested the Raw audience in all these vignettes and then drafted her.
They moved her right over.
Yeah, and then you moved her right over, and then you moved her back. So,
yeah. They'll probably move her back next year again. And this is how it goes.
Yeah, I feel like she's one of the few really likable baby faces on the roster because I feel like she doesn't ever feel contrived. I feel like she always feels very natural.
Yes.
I feel like she's gotten better and better as a promo. I feel like it's easy to root for her because she's always, determined in a good way. It's never like, oh, well, I lost this match, but I'm going to keep inserting myself in the title picture like a certain, Scottish psychopath. But no, I
won't give up.
I just feel like she's just a really, really good baby face. And I feel like that's very rare. Not just in WWE, but just in the industry right now.
Well, so Jay Shells said Bianca struggled when she got to Raw, though happy they turned it around when they did. She really deserves it. Such an inspiration. Okay, here's a good point here. All right, maybe it's good. I don't know. I haven't said it out loud yet. Okay, so my whole thing about how when WWE wants somebody to succeed, they will stick by them no matter what. For the younger audience out there, there's a gentleman who wrestles on WWE television. His name is Edge. And Edge was a guy who floundered a lot. To the point of where if he was somebody that Vince didn't like, they would have flushed him very quickly.
Right.
And a good example of that was 2004. They brought Edge back. The Edge's whole 2004 was like a disaster. in that everything you could do wrong, you did do wrong. Where Edge, of course, got injured in 2003 with a neck injury. The storyline for his neck injury was that somebody attacked him backstage at No Way Out 2003. Who could have done this? Who could have done this to Edge right before his match and took him out? He comes back in 2004. No mention of that whatsoever. So, like, they're just like, hey, Edge is happy to be back. And I was one of those people who was like, but who attacked Edge? We're just done with that. He was out for a year, and he's just cool. And especially, like, this was just a few years after we just did, like, 2000. They did the whole Austin who ran down Austin thing. So I'm, like, mad that you didn't follow up on that with Edge, right? But so they bring back Edge, happy-go-lucky babyface, doesn't care about anything. He's just coming out smiling, happy to see the fans. And the fans start turning on him to the point of where SummerSlam 2004 was in Toronto, Canada, and they booed Edge in his hometown. And that is an example of, like, you could have easily, if that were anybody else, if that was somebody that WWE didn't care about, if WWE didn't have a desire to see succeed, they would have just gone, well, we can see this Edge thing's not working, move on to somebody else.
Right.
The next night, they didn't even hesitate. They didn't even hesitate because this was before, like, the Cena era of, like, all right, let's keep trying. It was like the next night, the night after SummerSlam, Edge comes out, cuts a promo on the fans. They didn't even, like, they're like, you know what? They turned on him. He's a heel now.
Right.
And he goes on to become the rated R superstar and have the best run of his career. But that doesn't happen if he doesn't flounder. But also, my whole point here is that if WWE wants someone to succeed, if something's not working, they'll find something else.
Right.
I mean, Roman.
Roman Reigns. They will keep finding something until it works.
Yep.
It's only the people that they were like, they weren't trying with in the first place, that, like, the first thing that doesn't work, those are the guys they back off on. Bianca, to me, has always come off, at least on the main roster, like somebody that they want to see succeed.
Right.
And that she is a homegrown star. She is a product of the Performance Center.
You know what? Fans are kind of fickle, though. I've recently seen fans saying that they're bored of both CM Punk and Edge already. And I'm like, both of these people were out for so long, and everybody wanted them back for so long. And now you're saying you're already bored of them because they're on your TV again. Hey. Some fans you'll never be able to please, no matter what you give them.
Not to turn this into a CM Punk conversation, but I think people are missing the subtleties of the story that they're telling.
Right.
I think they're missing it. And I think people are going to be surprised in a few weeks or a few months when it, comes to culmination.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Bianca's been fantastic. I mean, that visual of her, doing the one-arm gorilla press on Thursday was just incredible.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I just think that
that match was dope too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and, put over Crown Jewel because, I don't like what they're doing with that. No. We're not going to put over them doing propaganda for their country. I don't care how good the show was. I just don't agree with
it. Jay Shell, continue. Thank you for the super chats, Jay Shell. You've been an excellent super chatter today.
It is a busy night of wrestling tonight.
Yeah, she asked, random, but will you guys be watching Bound for Glory? Can't wait for Cassie and Billy. I mean, it's we can't really call them that anymore, can we? But
I'm gonna watch Impact. Tonight. I might get around to it. I'm gonna watch Dynamite, and probably the GCW show. It's a busy night of wrestling tonight for sure.
It sounds like it's gonna be a busy night for wrestling for me because I was originally supposed to have a get together with some friends, but I suspect that my daughter has COVID, so that is not gonna be the case. I'm definitely not letting anybody in my house. Well, her best friend's got it, and she's not feeling good right now, and so putting two and two together.
Get well soon, the Washington household.
Yeah, so I'm like, I guess we're just gonna stay in and watch some wrestling today. And Cyclops is better than Wolverine says I wanted CM Punk, instead I got Phil Brooks. Look, I'm not gonna be one of those guys who says wait and see, but I will say that is the story they're telling. That it was like you brought in. I think it would have been really difficult to bring in CM Punk, a guy who hasn't wrestled in 7 years, and said like, "Oh, he's still that guy." Like, I like the idea of CM Punk having to work his way back up, because I don't know. I liked the Matt Sydal match. We mentioned that last week.
I don't think they understand CM Punk's story. This is kind of normal for how he plays his characters. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be dream matches out the gate. That's just not what he's came back to do. Yeah, and I think that's what people want.
The way that they've done this is very smart, because they've had the juxtaposition of Daniel Bryan having these incredible matches back to back to match. Mm-hmm. And then you've got CM Punk basically having to figure it out as he goes, trying different ways to beat people every time he wins.
Right.
Trying different gear even. Mm-hmm. Even the point to him doing the complex thing and buying the Jordans, and he was very uneasy about it and immediately giving them away because he felt like they weren't him.
Right.
All of that stuff is part of what he's doing. Him doing commentary and not, he's basically trying to see how he still fits in wrestling. That is the story.
Yeah, and I think that his big feud is coming, and I think there's little seeds being planted for it. Because I think his major feud is going to be MJF. That's my theory.
Have you guys noticed? Not to cut you off, but have you guys noticed that every time he comes out and does commentary and Adam Cole has a match right before it, his music cuts off CM Punk's music? It happens every time. And they've been, just to point it out, when CM Punk came back and did Backstage, who was on that episode?
Adam
Cole. Adam Cole has always said that CM Punk is his big inspiration. He's a big part of why he does what he does. I think the Adam Cole match is going to happen sooner than people.
They're planting seeds. Listen to CM Punk when he commentates an Adam Cole match. They're planting a lot of seeds.
Oh, yeah. And there's a lot. He signed a 3-year deal. There's time. Yeah. There is time, I promise. Jay Shell says, oh, Billy, my God, I forgot. It was Jessica. Thank you guys for such an amazing show. This has been a great mental break from college applications. Get back to them college applications, though.
Yes.
But thank you for spending your Saturday with us. And Fert says, Bound for Glory, Alexander versus Christian. Loving Josh's story since Ethan left. I mean, I guess
have they confirmed the women's main event? The women's match could still potentially be the main event.
That should be the main event in my opinion, because I feel like Mickey versus Deonna has been the best storyline they've had for the last few months. At least
they've been building it for a while.
I feel like that should be the main event. That's the match I'm the most excited for. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm excited for the tag match to see the inspiration come through. I think it's going to be a great pay-per-view. I'm really excited for it.
Me too. It's going to be a great show.
I guess predictions on the 2 world title matches.
I think that Deonna is going to retain. I feel like she has beaten every Attitude Era legend that she's come across in Jazz. And, well, Melina's not from Attitude Era. She's, like, right on the cusp. But I feel like she's going to beat Mickey, and I feel like the one who's going to beat Deonna is Tasha Steelz.
All right.
I feel the same. I think Josh Alexander, of course, is going to go over in the main event. He should.
I think Josh Alexander wins. Yeah,
they've been building up to this for a long time, and I think Josh Alexander is going to be an amazing Impact World Champion. All the matches, the potential matches, are endless, especially with this Forbidden Door still being cracked wide open. So he could wrestle anybody, like you're saying.
Got Suzuki possibly going there soon.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not possible. He is. We know that. It's confirmed. There's lots of wrestling to watch tonight.
So much.
Yeah.
Watch Black Girl Magic. We didn't super get around to it, but a tremendous show. All black women wrestling show. Get IWTV, and it's only $10. Just pay $10 and go watch this show.
Yeah, definitely go watch that.
Just a lot of great stuff going on, you guys. Wrestling has been insane. The news never stops. The stories never stops. Every 10 minutes, there's something new happening. So,
yeah, if you don't watch it for anything else, I feel like Jordan Blade versus Janai Kai was a really, really good match.
Yeah.
And you should watch it for that. Both of them are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're saying that there are no black women that, are out there that could still be signed, those are 2 women right there that you can sign.
I hope nobody's saying that.
People are still saying that. Yeah.
How?
People say wild things on
Twitter. Yeah.
Because last I checked, Willow Nightingale's not like
Willow is still out there.
Yeah, she's still out there. Like, no, how? Right. It's not a statement you can make. And here's the thing:
Willow, Holiday, Nicole Savoy. There's so many.
Yeah. And not just that, but I'm pretty sure that black people didn't just become sterile. It's not just like,
right.
It's not like we just like stopped producing this. That's not how this works.
Where are all the black women at? They're out there.
They're out there.
Yeah, and again, to go back to our number one topic, I think after this year, you're going to see more and more black women want to watch wrestling and want to wrestle because of the main event of WrestleMania and because of Bianca succeeding on such a high level this year. So, I think it's only up for you.
Now, Fert was bringing up that I thought Willow was ROH.
I don't think she's signed. Though.
No, she's not signed to ROH.
No,
she's not signed anywhere.
I think Trish Adora is officially signed with
Trish is the one that's signed.
I don't think Willow is signed.
Yeah, Willow has like a deal with MLW, but that's not a signed deal. That's just like she's hanging out over here having matches.
But either way, and and it's not to knock Ring of Honor, it's not to knock MLW, but that's not the end goal for anybody.
Exactly.
So the end goal is always going to be the top of the industry. And the question is just what the top of the industry means anymore, because we're in a different time, and it's fun. Yep. Friends, this has been Grapsody on your Saturday. I want you to make sure to follow all of us. Follow Grapsody Pod. That is our Twitter handle.
It's up here.
Yeah, you can also follow, as you just mentioned, Righteous Reg right over there. And you could also follow William RBR. I'm right there. And Phil DL616. I'm pointing in the wrong direction. Because look, this whole thing is mirrored and it feels stupid. Yeah. But yes, so you can follow us all on social media. Again, be sure to give us your feedback and let us know in the again, the YouTube chat is always a good way. But also leave us your comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like the show. Again, go away if you don't. But no, or do what you want.
Don't forget, fix your hat when you talk to us, and tie them shoes.
Fix your hat, man. Fix your face too.
But you can also again subscribe to youtube.com/Fightful. We're on every Saturday. We're on at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and I'm just ready.
Shout out to SRS before we go. I don't know what he be saying on there.
SRS. What if the lyrics to that song like about killing someone? I'm pretty sure they were. But
Collie Boy was on that?
Damn.
Collie Boy was on that time?
Man. They were like, this is for WWE, right? He was like, we beefing. It don't matter.
But anyway. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Grapsody. I'm Will. He's Phil. He's Reg. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time and have a great day. Peace.